What's up, Thumpers? Welcome back to another video from Hyper Rapid Power Go. We're doing a non-spoiler review. Non-spoilers. You can watch this even if you have not seen the movie yet. We're doing a non-spoiler review of Captain Marvel.
That's right.
Just got out of the scrreening. We're joined here by Emily Rose Jacobson.
Hello.
Augie will be here for the spoiler review. He's got an early day. He's got to be up at like 4 in the morning, so we didn't want to keep him here too late.
That sucks.
And obviously Hector is here.
Hi.
We saw
and
it.
obviously Adam is here.
Yes,
Hi.
Obviously
I am here. We saw it. It was us three. Augie saw it. His fiancée Cynthia saw it, and Cameron saw it.
That's right.
And I think Cameron's going to jump in on the spoiler review with us as well, so we can get his thoughts on it.
Also, basically, everybody else we know was there too.
Yeah. Jay Washington, a bunch of people were there.
And there were 2D screenings available and 3D. And we opted for 2D. I know that like the group that we were in, Augie likes to watch films the first go around in 2D.
Yeah.
Otherwise, his eye is still sort of trained to pick up on 3D mistakes and stuff.
Oh,
and he sometimes has a tough time enjoying the movie the first go around because to kind of get into the film. So we opted for 2D, and I really, really wish I saw it in 3D, and I really want to later in the week when we go again. Like I'm gonna go again, and I want to see it in 3D because I was imagining what sequences and how they could have worked for sure, and that always makes me go, oh man, I got FOMO. Like I wish I had seen it in 3D. So we all saw it in 2D.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I like watching them 2D first if I can. I know for Alita that was the one movie that we just went 3D regular and then 3D and IMAX. I saw it again the second time.
That's right. Yeah, you saw it twice.
So I'm kind of in the same boat. But I also agree with you. I think there are moments in this movie that could play really, really well in 3D. So I would really like to check it out. So because this is a non-spoiler review, we're not going to talk about details. We're not going to talk about plot. We're just going to give our initial reactions and the feelings that we had for this movie when the credits rolled. The one thing that you and I talked about, the marketing. So there's been a lot of discussion about the marketing, whether or not it's been good or not. For me, after watching the movie, I will say the marketing does a really good job keeping things a secret.
It's true. I was saying originally it is tough to – I was thinking it may have been tough to trailerize this movie because of how the narrative was supposedly going to work, where like they said we kind of jump around in time. It's really not straightforward. And that's for the most part true. Like I don't think it's a super easy without context movie to take little moments and be like, here's an epic moment, like in a trailer. It's like you need the context and the sort of build up and stuff. So yeah, I thought that the marketing was good. I also think that this movie, although it has some mind-blowing sequences, it is not an epic. It is not as epic and like world-ending as an Avengers movie, or like it really has like a smaller, more personal scale. And I think my takeaway.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to do a movie about a singular hero, it doesn't need to be Avengers at scale,
and it's not even Guardians of the Galaxy scale. Those Guardians movies, they're about singular and groups of characters, but even that is way
that's an ensemble,
and it's very cosmic and spacey. And this kind of is, but kind of is also not. Yeah. So it's different in that way.
A lot.
Are we just getting into it? Are we already talking about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Overall thoughts. I liked it. I want to see it again. There were things I really, really liked about it. I didn't love it overall, but like most Marvel movies, this is going to be a lot of people's favorite, the same way many, many, many other movies in this very varied franchise, that's going to be their favorite. My biggest takeaway is, for everything that happened in the movie, I really liked Carol. I really liked her by the end of the film. I was like, I'm rooting for this character, and I really, really like Brie Larson as Carol, and I really want to see her in her own sequel movie, and I want to see her in other Marvel movies where she's mixing it up with other characters. That's a thing I was super excited about. So that was my takeaway. I thought that it was good, weird, fun. There's some stuff I'd never seen. There was some stuff that didn't quite work for me, and there was some stuff that was definitely like cliched and stuff, that we've kind of seen in movies like this and other genres as well. But overall, I thought that they did Carol justice, and like I want more of Carol. Basically, that's kind of my takeaway. That's where I'm at.
I liked it. I had a really good time. I think too, seeing the first female, like this is a female Marvel character's standalone film. Yeah. That in itself for me personally, as a lady, as Emily Rose Jacobson, was an experience. Like, same with seeing Wonder Woman for the first time. Very, very much an experience in itself. I felt really engaged with the film the entire time. I thought you're right. The trailers do a really good job of kind of playing with, like, you don't know a lot. And I think that's the really fun aspect about this film is discovery. Did cry, did tear up.
Oh.
Third act, kind of.
I think I know which part. And it was a very good part. It's my favorite part.
So yeah, it was emotional for me. And yeah, I think you have Brie Larson. Captain Marvel is kind of this character who's very kind of, I come here and get shit done. That's Captain Marvel. And I thought that Brie Larson, they add some humorous moments. They add some kind of cliche moments. I do agree. There's some moments where I was kind of like, okay, movie. But yeah, I thought she did a great job. I agree with you. I didn't even think about it till now. I'm so excited to see her play off of the other characters. Because I think we did a great job of establishing who she is and the people she knew and the people around her kind of they were all reflection. They were all palettes of colors to brighten, like to really highlight who she is.
I agree.
Now I'm excited. Great. We have her standalone film. We have this character. Excited to see her mingle with other characters. Kind of how I felt with Doctor Strange. Great.
Same.
We established Doctor Strange.
Same.
Great. Get him in there. Get him playing with the other characters.
And then I ended up liking Doctor Strange even more when he ends up joining a larger group of characters because of what that character brings to, like, personality-wise and stuff. Like,
I am so excited to see her play with Iron Man and Star-Lord and Captain.
That's what I'm saying. So,
very, very, very excited.
Yeah, I agree. I know that, Adam, you disagreed with the notion that I'm about to say, which is I felt like I walked away basically knowing Carol, and I felt like all the other characters in the film almost took a backseat to Carol for the most part, which is interesting because I heard somebody say before going into it that they were like, oh, I feel that it was a great Nick Fury movie and not enough of a Captain Marvel movie. And I disagree with that. I think that Fury was great in the film, but I also believe that Carol existed to put Fury in that prequel state of mind where it's like, okay, and then that lines up with everything we know about Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that other stuff in later Marvel movies. But, like, specifically what Fury did for Carol, I think the reason he's there is to kind of bring more to what Carol is going through and learning and her character in the film.
Yeah, I don't think this was this is the Nick Fury movie. I think he's super fun in it.
Great.
He's great. But I don't think, he does not take, for me, he didn't take a front seat. He took the co-pilot. Or he just kind of support. Yeah. Everybody support Carol.
Yeah, Adam.
Oh boy. So I would say I definitely like this movie. I think when I walked out of the movie and the movie ended, I think even more so than I feel like I got a sense of who Carol Danvers was. I think the biggest thing with Captain Marvel for me was I feel like I didn't really exactly understand her power set.
Sure.
And that was a little frustrating in the third act because I thought, great, so this character, like, there's one scene in particular where Nick Fury and Carol are in a situation.
Yeah, no spoilers.
And she easily gets them out of the situation. They turn into a comedic bit, and that worked fine for me. But then there's other parts towards the end of the movie where I'm like, this power set is so undefined for me that, like, it's really hard for me to understand, okay, then, like, what stops this character from being Captain Marvel? Like, is she invulnerable? Is she not invulnerable? It wasn't really defined too much completely. But I do think, like, this is definitely a Captain Marvel movie. Everyone else is a supporting character. Nick Fury, I think, is like the most co-lead in this movie, and I think he works great for what he's there for. He's really there to help Carol connect to the rest of the world and to tie her into the Avengers universe.
Jude Law is great.
Jude Law is great as Yon-Rogg.
Yeah.
My favorite character was Talos.
Very interesting character.
I was very surprised.
Ben Mendelsohn, like,
killed it.
Steals it. He's
Ben Mendelsohn
so
was
good.
really, really good. And
I
mean, I'm sure that wasn't their intention, but at the end of the movie, I was like, man, I would really like to see this world, this situation.
This situation.
I was very
It's tough to talk about again without spoilers, but
I would say overall, I think my favorite part of the movie I think visually there's a lot of really cool stuff in here.
Yeah.
There's stuff that Carol does, and I'm like, this is rad. Like, we have not seen other Marvel heroes do this. It's really, really cool.
Yes.
I thought the music was great.
The score was my favorite.
It's great. The score was awesome.
I love Daft Punk, and this was giving me some Tron Legacy vibes.
And
this
you know what else?
Great.
It was giving me is when we were in 1995 on Earth. It was giving me like there was like little Lethal Weapon riffs. Like there was little like classic sort of action movie things where I was like, this is working on some different levels and stuff. I dug that. Yeah. And also the soundtrack, like the songs they picked, dope songs. They don't have as much emotional meaning as, say, Star-Lord and his. Like that'll always be the gold standard.
Because it's very personal.
Yes.
There's one fight where they use a well-known song, and as soon as I was sitting there, I almost turned to you and I said, they're picking up Thor Ragnarok, because that's what they did at the beginning of Thor Ragnarok.
That was obviously inspired and influenced as well by Guardians. And Guardians of the Galaxy, even that you could trace it back to the first Iron Man movie, okay? We can't forget that the very first, and this is all on purpose, the very first MCU movie opens with bounce, banana, back in black, to tell you about who this character is, what this tone is, and these songs are used specifically to make you feel good. It's like they're like feel good movies. It's just that it just so happens that when James Gunn did Guardians, like he made it such an emotional factor of that whole world that like we'll never get that again. But man, oh man, is it great at the beginning of Thor Ragnarok that we hear Immigrant Song, and man, oh man, the songs in this movie, they're like freaking perfect songs for what this is, but again, it just doesn't have that same emotional connectivity, like, you know. But that's it.
I think also for the movie, I know a lot of people were saying like they didn't think that Brie Larson could really bring it. I think for me personally, I think she's a great actor.
Yeah.
I think there are elements of the writing and the directing. You know, it's a co-directed movie by Anna Bode and Ryan Fleck. I think there's something missing that doesn't really allow Brie Larson to really like stretch her full potential. And I think part of that also has to do with the fact of what the story is.
Right.
And I'm hoping, because I know
I get that.
Like, I agree what you guys are saying. How Doctor Strange in his movie was pretty good. He's further enhanced in the Avengers movies. I don't want that to become a trend where it's like, we're going to give you a little bit of who these characters are, but wait till you see them in Endgame. They're going to be badass. I'm like, I want them to be dope in their own movie.
For sure.
Oh, I think we've seen that in Black Panther and in Spider-Man Homecoming. We had these two amazing, like, here you got a taste, you got a little nibble of these characters in Civil War, and now it's like here's the movies, which I love. And I think this one too. We've never, like, there's been the Marvel movie, kind of the first film trope, where the origin story trope, I should say, where like I remember watching Doctor Strange and I was like,
Doctor Strange and Ant-Man are just Iron Man 1.
And
absolutely.
And those are just Spider-Man, Sam Raimi, and that's just Christopher Reeve's Superman. It's all in the DNA, but that's what I really like about this movie. This is not that.
It doesn't do that. That's what I appreciate about the movie.
And it's also not Black Panther or Spider-Man, in which you were introduced to the character and now they have their standalone film where they already have their powers. This is such an interesting film. It's a very bold move to be like, not only are you going to figure out who this character is, she's going to figure out who she is too. And I think that's tricky because I think overhearing some people saying I wasn't really connecting to Carol, or it didn't feel like there's a genuine moment. I think there were some genuine moments. I thought the actress who plays her best friend,
she's fantastic,
killed it. My gosh.
Rambo, not Monica, but Monica's mom. What's that character's name? Oh my God, Mary.
Do you want to look it up?
I'm gonna look it up.
Lashana Lynch is the actress.
Lashana Lynch was fantastic.
Incredible performance. But I think
I think it's Mary.
I think when you have a character whose dialogue is figuring out whose whole point, and also talking about a little bit, it's tricky because you have this movie where Carol Danvers. Maria
Rambo.
Gosh, it's so good. Carol, I think it's tricky too because Carol Danvers doesn't have she doesn't have a distinct defining objective. She wants to stop the Skrull and she wants to discover who she is. And those are kind of blended in together where you have, I think, because a lot of people, of course, are going to be comparing this film to Wonder Woman because it's kind of these two female-led films.
Sure. But I think that's the only thing you can compare. story-wise, they're so different.
They're so different.
Yes.
But I think with a character like Wonder Woman, and of course they are in two totally different circumstances.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is like, gotta stop Ares. Cool. Where are we going? Gotta stop Ares. Oh, we're in London. We need to get to the front line because I gotta stop Ares. I feel like her objective really drives her, where Carol's does too, but sometimes it is muddy what exactly her objective is, if that makes sense.
She's going on a journey. That's what the movie is.
And I think it's a journey of discovery, and I think that's the big thing.
Yeah.
It was still really, really good, but I think that's where people might be a little kind of not feel as close to the movie or not connect with the movie as much.
It is differently paced than any other movie in the MCU and most superhero films. I think it takes some adjustment to if you're so used to that film language, it'll take some adjusting to when you settle in for this movie as the movie starts going. You're like, okay, like it took a little bit of adjusting for me. And and Carol agrees. She's like, yeah. But it's like differently paced, differently timed. There were some little editing things that I was like, I don't know if I love that. Little things here and there that but basically I just would have liked more in some certain scenes.
I didn't think all the fight scenes were that well. Not that they weren't well coordinated. I don't think they were that well shot. There feels like there's a lot of like random cutting where characters on the floor, then they're standing, and I'm like, smooth it out a little bit.
Some of it was a little
it was like Christopher Nolan style
around
action.
the edges, and some of the action was awesome. Like it was like really good stuff that we've never seen before, and I was like, that's dope. But but it's all of that stuff is, and then when you get to certain points in the film where I feel like we all have an internal film clock where my internal clock was going, okay, this is end of Act 1. Now we're moving, and I was like, "This isn't syncing up." Like it's like
I felt that
I was
way
like,
too.
I'm like,
I was like, "Where are we?"
I'm like, "Okay, are we done with the? Oh, okay. Now this is where we're going." And I appreciate that.
And my clock, that's for me. My clock was turned off by this movie. I remember sitting there and being like, oh my gosh, because I can't track where this movie is,
right?
Because my Marvel beats are not beating.
Yeah.
I felt, because sometimes I'll pull out a film. Sometimes, like we all do, we'll feel sometimes ourselves pull out of films and be like, oh yes, I am in a movie, or oh yes, I'm going to think about this for a moment. But I felt like this the entire time because it's a journey of discovery. I'm figuring out what's going on as much as Carol is. We all are. We are all Carol Danvers.
Sometimes for me, it's problematic when I go into a movie and I feel like I'm just kind of like lost in time. For me, sometimes it's problematic. I like to feel like I know Act 1, Act 2,
Okay.
Act 3.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning it's a little muddier. Actually, no, I would say it's actually a little bit more in the middle. It's a little muddy.
Okay.
But once like Act 1, you kind of get a really good sense of what that is. Act 3, I felt like I really had a really good hand. It's the middle somewhere. I'm like, where exactly are we in this movie?
Yeah.
But I think because it has so many great moments, I don't think, for me personally, it doesn't flow great all the way through, but there are so many great moments and reveals and surprises that I thought, oh shit, this movie's doing something different.
Yeah,
this is cool.
It is.
And there was moments where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to trust that thing that they're trying to sell me on.
Right,
I'm like, shit, it actually ended up being cool.
The reveals in this movie I loved.
Yeah.
Because I'm someone who is very much kind of, if you know story arcs and if you know film arcs.
And if you know Marvel Comics.
You can sit there and you can be like, great, prediction. Yep. This one, I was joyfully surprised.
Oh.
It was really, really refreshing and really nice.
Yeah. Also, I want to mention, too, like, Jimon Honsu, Lee Pace, Gemma Chan, the rest of the Star Force, they were great. I got to give a shout out to Annette Bening. She was fantastic. Don't want to say who she is.
This is not a spoiler, but Annette Bening is in the movie a lot more than I thought she was going to be. And I'm like, this is great.
And she is like wonderful in this film.
I love
and
that
really
woman.
had this really great performance, really great character, really great presence. I was really happy with that. I was anytime Annette was in it, I'm like, oh yeah, she's great.
I like this.
She's great. So
Are those your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are yes. I liked it. I cannot wait to go see it again because the first time I watched it, my brain was solving this movie puzzle. The second time I want to see it, that's when I'm actually going to be able to look at the sort of pieces of the puzzle and go, how is this working? Does this work for me? Does this not work for me? How am I feeling about it? But the first time when you're along for the ride, I was really like solving it and almost like not letting myself notice or enjoy the things that are like passing me by because I'm so focused on like putting the story, the way that it goes together. So I really want to go see it again. I don't think it'll be my favorite Marvel movie out of all the Marvel movies. I still think I am more connected to other characters. But man, oh man, I love Carol, and I want to see her like have a long career in the MCU, and I want to see her interact with other characters. Final thoughts.
Yes. I didn't know it was going to jump to me so quickly. Same. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I think it's really fun. I think it does something different, and I applaud it for that. I think it's a really interesting story. Love the soundtrack. Had a great time. Cried. Stick around for those post-credit scenes.
Oh yeah,
good. And the beginning of the movie, very, very heartfelt. Very nice little tribute
to Stan Lee.
Yeah, that's not a spoiler.
It should not be a spoiler because I heard about this as well. It is awesome.
It is fantastic.
Our theater was more packed, I think, than your guys's, and everybody applauded.
Yeah.
And Stan's cameo was also lovely and
so
really
beautiful.
Funny if you're a fan of Stan and his career.
Yes.
It's very
Totally,
funny, but but the opening is a wonderful tribute to Stan that it's like.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's really great.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see Carol in more films, and I'm really excited to see what she like her in Endgame. And I'm really excited. I really want to see, now that Carol knows who she is, and now that we know who Carol is, I want to know what Carol's anchor is. Now that we know who she is, I want to see her. Is it her family? Mm-hmm. Is it protecting people? Mm-hmm. I'm so excited to discover what Carol's what is she fighting for now is.
Because we know what it was
in the movie.
In 1995. Yep.
I would say overall it was a very fun movie. It's very enjoyable. There's a lot of really cool visual stuff. There are some interesting twists and turns. I was surprised at some of the characters that I end up really enjoying. Mm-hmm. I really liked the music was great. For me, it's mostly it's a combination of pacing and not really. I just personally didn't feel like I fully understood exactly what Carol was all about. But maybe that's part of the movie that I think is good for a lot of people because she's also on the same journey.
Right.
So maybe for other people it'll work. For me, it wasn't really fully there completely 100%, but I liked how everything worked together, and I think she partnered with Nick Fury was really, really fun.
Yeah.
I think he helped sort of ground her, and it was like just a really fun dynamic. So overall, I enjoyed the movie. I'm kind of in the same boat. I want to see it a second time because walking out of it, I thought, I don't really know how to feel. I need to really have time to kind of think about how I feel about this movie. Yeah, because it's
in the Captain Marvel juices.
It's not just trying to do what Ant-Man and Doctor Strange did, where it just sort of repeats the formula of what Iron Man did. Mm-hmm. It's trying to do a little bit of that, but it's also like, we're going to do this, but we're also going to take you in this direction, and we're going to see how you react to it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
While adding to the ever-building Marvel Cinematic Universe, while setting things up, while doing all these different things. And, we've talked about this before, but the internet just wants everybody to have an opinion. Either 100% loved it, 100% hated it, and have that opinion 2 seconds after you see a thing, as opposed to the way that I think was more common to talk about movies even before the internet, in print or on television or media, whatever, where it's just like, let it kind of, let you settle
Swim
in it. Have a discussion. So I can't wait to revisit this, see how I feel about it. Maybe I'll feel differently. Maybe I'll like it less. Maybe I'll like it more.
I think I will like it more, honestly.
And then I'm looking forward to having this be a movie that I will keep revisiting over the next few years. The same way that I've been rewatching all the Marvel movies since the first Iron Man. It's like I've seen those enough. I'm ready to start really rewatching, Black Panther, Infinity War, Thor Ragnarok, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Black Panther, and and putting Captain Marvel into that mix. Mm-hmm. I'm excited about it.
Agreed. But guys, if you've seen the movie, let us know in the comments what you thought. Please keep it spoiler-free.
No spoilers!
No spoilers! We're going to do a spoiler review later on in the week where we'll get into more of the dynamics, and we'll have a few more people here to talk about the movie as well. In the meantime, subscribe right here to HyperRPG, youtube.com/HyperRPG. We're almost at 100,000. Help us get there, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.